1987. A tranquil coastal town on the Florida panhandle became the center for one of the most controversial UFO incidents of the decade. Startling photographs taken by local contractor Ed Walters captured the nation's attention and sparked a frenzy of both skepticism and belief. Walters' vivid images of strange hovering crafts lit by eerie lights became compelling evidence for a case of extraterrestrial visitation. As the story unfolded, more residents came forward with their own sightings, corroborating reports of unusual aerial phenomena over the sleepy town. These testimonies painted a picture of a community unwittingly thrust into the limelight of a UFO sensation, grappling with the implications of what they might truly have witnessed. This case file, join the theorists as we load up on pocket sand and polish our spinning roundhouse kicks in the Gulf Breeze UFO incident.
Welcome to Alien Theorists Theorizing Case File 319, the Gulf Breeze UFO incident. I do like me a Gulf Breeze. It sounds like a
That's
good
Braden.
name.
Sounds like a shot.
Yeah, I'm Braden.
I'm Zell.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Andrew.
You guys got to get my audio cues in there.
Did you say it sounds like a shot? Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
Sounds like a nice cocktail.
rounded Gulf Breezes
Gulf
for
Breeze.
the boys.
It's like one of those. Yeah, it's one of it's one of those drinks you order and it's like for 4 people. Like it's like
Oh, and like a fishbowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A Gulf Breeze is actually a shot of Fireball in an iced tea.
That is not a fucking Gulf Breeze. Obviously, you're still.
No, it's a Fireball in a root beer.
Nope,
See
that's not it either.
Have it.
Pretty sure.
Fireball
also-
in a beer.
Yeah, that's the one. That's
And
the one. Nailed it.
Okay.
Also, I want to just say, for you to come this close to the Hollywood Hulk Zell and not just smash it out while no one's at home, it's a little disappointing. That's still sitting in the bank.
It was on my agenda and I just didn't get to it. You have to wait 6 more months. And I didn't have the costume. Didn't have the bandana.
Yeah, I think even the beard mustache the dyed beard mustache would be funny. But let's get right into this one. Fucking Gulf Breeze, good old UFO sighting.
Yeah. Quality 1980s, late 1980s sighting. So you know it's fucking good.
Yeah.
Slight
this one took-
softcore porn as well, I believe.
Yeah.
I definitely remember. I remember seeing stuff about this one. Like,
Well,
a
dude, this
long
one's
time ago.
got, when you get into this one has like, you start to hear names and shit and you're like, oh, these are fucking, we've talked about all these people, all like, so everyone, all the kind of who's who kind of like, dip their fingers in the Gulf Breeze.
And
They had a couple Gulf Breezies.
Yeah, the events like span from 87 to like 90, like at least like 91 or something like that. And I do remember seeing bits and pieces of this one, at least because I mean, this one made it all the way to the, the hallowed halls of Unsolved Mysteries with Bobby Stacks. So like if it was on there, it was fucking huge.
Legit.
Even bigger than that, it made it to a fucking Pensacola putt-putt course.
Yeah. Way bigger than Unsolved Mysteries, nationally syndicated TV show. Yeah.
Okay, now is it just me? But like, there's like Pensacola, or maybe I'm thinking Pascagoula.
You get Pascagoula?
Yeah, is that because I was like Pensacola? I was like, why is that so familiar? And now I'm thinking, I was thinking of the other one. Pretty close. Is that coincidence? Maybe not. I don't know.
So, the principal witness of this case is a man named Ed Walters, who at the time was a local contractor who worked in that area. He owned a successful business by all accounts, and he employed over 200 people. And so he claims that he saw a glowing object hovering outside his home on November 11th, 1987. according to him, he was able to take multiple Polaroid photos of this UFO, and he described this top-shaped craft emitting some type of blue beam down towards the ground when he took these photos, and you can see him like within these photos. So these photos are very like iconic.
That's the pinnacle of photography right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was interesting too when that blue beam hit him though. He had like some sensations, right? Like he had that piercing pain in the back of his brain, and he had that smell of ammonia and cinnamon.
Oh,
right.
My favorite.
Well, the ammonia smell is sometimes associated with the grays.
Or cinnamon.
I never heard the cinnamon part of that before. That's the cologne. That's the cologne they wear.
Yeah,
no, humans love cinnamon. Just sprinkle it with cinnamon.
Signature spice.
They're trying to figure out what they're missing in their pancakes. That's what it is.
Walters claims also during that night while he was after he had taken the Polaroid photos, like that blue beam had briefly struck him, and then he had experienced those sensations that Andrew described there.
I was trying to figure out if it struck him after he took the photos, because that's what it kind of sounded like to me.
He's shaking it. You know, he's shaking the Polaroid.
Let's see how to go.
Fucking 3000.
Yeah. And like everyone knows, anyone who's ever taken any kind of, if you got one of those new like quick pics, Polaroids and stuff, just the best night camera you can possibly use to take a shot at night is a Polaroid. But yeah, because that was my question. Is he's snapping these Polaroids and he's doing it quite fast, as fast as he can, and they're printing. And then he seemingly gets hit after. So in my head, I was like, we've other contactees and stuff and abductees have said like they felt like some sort of connection to the craft, as if their conscious thought affected it. And it's like, now this guy's taking pictures and it's like fucking zaps him right through the window.
Yeah, but it's like a warning zap. Like, hey, fuck off. Because it didn't wreck the pictures. Guys still alive.
We see you. We see you.
So over
maybe he had the flash on. Maybe he had the flash on, right? The little.
You have to.
You check the photos. Yeah.
The flash significant?
I think within the few days after this, Walters was kind of deciding on what he wanted to do with these photos, since it's like, oh, I have proof of extraterrestrials visiting our planet. What can I do with these photos, and who's going to believe me? So he decides to submit these photos to his local newspaper and the Gulf Breeze Sentinel, but he decides to submit them anonymously because at this time, people are very aware of the stigma of being identified or being,
the photos are like, as far as UFO photos go, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Like they show what looks like, I don't know, Braden, you want to put it on the stream?
Yeah, I'll pull them up right here.
Because they are, it looks like a tiered flying saucer. The light at the bottom, it has like a top and it has like a midsection. I mean, you could say like, oh, that's a doctored photo, but I mean, it's false.
Listen,
the Polaroid is instant print, so whatever happened was right there.
This is the best pictures of UFOs we've ever had.
This is the best.
Yeah, even for the time. Yeah,
no, not even for the time. This would I've never seen a more detailed fucking
like
UFOs
that close, right? It's only like 10 feet off the ground. It's just like right on the road.
Yeah, like that's the best UFO picture I've ever seen.
Like, look at that zoomed in there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what a boom.
I mean, I saw a fucking
hard
duck
evidence
in a lake upside down, and people were trying to tell me that was a fucking UFO. Like, this looks way more like a UFO. Okay.
So Ed decides to take the leap and submit these photos, and so he decides to submit them under the pseudonym Mr. X.
Well, I think he did that too because again, it's too early for him to start like being a UFO contractor. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a market for that. It would be like
reality's not there yet.
Yeah, if he comes out with this, and then all of a sudden it's like he gets associated with.
Oh my God, can this is this guy still alive? Can he be our old man? Oh, can he be our old man?
Ed Walters, we hired as our lead contractor for UFO contractors.
The gates of hell.
Yeah.
I guess if you're listening to this, UFO contractors, you'll hear next week.
Yeah, you'll hear this next week. And then come back to this one because that callback's hilarious. Yeah. Or call forward.
Oh, that's funny.
Time traveling here.
Yeah, he has a big business and he obviously doesn't want to be known like, hey, you need your house built. And it's like, yeah, I'm Ed Waters. And you're like, are you that fucking alien guy? Right? Obviously, like that would, hurt your business. So it kind of makes sense to me why he did that. And like Zell said, these are phenomenal photos. Like when you look at them, you're like, shit. Like, yeah,
that's the best I've seen.
Yeah.
If someone just came up to you on the street and it's like, hey man, what do you think this is? And they showed you that picture, you'd be like, it's goddamn alien spacecraft.
No doubt in my mind.
No doubt in my mind.
Then you guys are on the same wavelength as the then editor of the Sentinel, Dwayne Cook. So Dwayne Cook takes the photos.
The comedian?
Yes, the famous comedian Dwayne Cook. So he takes the photos and listens to Ed's story, and Ed is basically telling him, my friend,
my
Mr.
friend of a friend,
X,
my friend of a friend.
Yeah, it's essentially a friend of a friend story where he's like, my friend, Mr. X, gave me these photos and this written like testimony, a description of what he saw. And I'm going to submit these to you. And I want you to publish these in the newspaper. So Dwayne is a bit skeptical. He's like, oh, these are great photos. Like, you look at them like, hey, these are great UFO photos, whether they're fake or not. Whatever, like we can run these on the front page at least, some news. But the thing is, what pushes Dwayne over into the believer camp is that he, like the very same day, coincidentally, his parents show up to the newspaper just to stop by to visit, and he tells them about this. This submission that he's gotten, like, hey, you're not going to believe what we're going to run. We're going to run this thing about this UFO, and he shows them the photos, and they're like, we saw that. That's exactly what we saw. Like that same night, like we saw that, and he's like, "Holy shit!"
There might be some.
And then all of a sudden, he just turns into fucking J. Jonah Jameson banging the table. Fucking, give me pictures of this flying saucer.
Yeah, run it!
Damn it, Mr. X!
Menace saucer terrorizes town. Run it!
Flying saucers menace to society.
Flying saucer ignores all aviation laws, terrorizes small town.
So they run 2 of the 5 photos that were submitted by Walters under the guise of Mr. X, and they run them in the paper on November 19th, 1987, along with that message from Mr. X.
Yeah.
And like a small little comment on the thing saying that anyone else who saw the strange lights, they should contact the Sentinel directly with their experience.
And that's what Mr. X wanted. Mr. X wanted just more people that saw the thing. So when you're looking at this thing from like an outside perspective of being like, this is someone who saw something amazing, who took pictures of something amazing, and he's just wanting other people to be like, did you see this too? Like it has all the hallmarks of just someone just being like, what did I see? Did anyone else see this shit? Right before I come forward, I'll leave it behind, as the Mr. X pseudonym. But the one thing I will say, like, as far as like, Polaroids. Listen, I've looked at a lot of fucking UFO pictures, a lot, and there is a couple that when I look before listening to the rest of the story, where if I didn't have the rest of the Polaroids to look at, I'm like, motherfucker, that looks like a China lantern in the window from inside, like in a reflection. Now, the thing is there is a couple photos where whatever this object is partly obscured. So it's like behind something outside, which wouldn't happen if it was if it was that. So then I'm like, damn, okay, well, now I don't know what
exposure, right?
Well, you can't get a double exposure so for a double exposure, so 2 images over top of each other, if you were shooting it outside and you double expose that, you would have, say, a tree in the backdrop, right? And then your double exposed image would show up on top, right? So you'd have a UFO in front of a tree. But there's some pictures where the UFO is partly obscured by said tree. And you don't get that via double exposure. You would see both images. So you're kind of like, it's interesting. Like, do I know enough about photography to say, like, that can't be hoax. No, but I'm like, I know enough that I'm like, I don't know how I would do that.
Well, I mean, double exposure would be much easier in film
way easier. Yeah.
Like film that you would have to like develop, but in the instant Polaroid, I have no idea. Could have happened maybe, but seems harder.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was Dwayne's thoughts exactly, because Dwayne was like, when he was thinking about running these photos originally, he was kind of looking at him like, how do you fake a Polaroid photo? He wasn't really sure either, but he's like, yeah, this would be difficult to fake.
I got to put my comedy career on hold and just go full into this fucking UFO shit.
Yeah, should have left it on hold.
This was the Tom DeLonge of the previous generation. He's back. They're back now. Tom's back.
He just dropped the U.
So Dwayne Cook is a bit of an editor, worth his salt. So he decides to kind of team up. I think he actually teamed up with like a couple of MUFON investigators, or they traded information after the news hit the headlines, and then MUFON got involved at the time, and they were looking to try and identify who Mr. X was, because they had no idea, but they wanted to know. You want to verify where your source is, so you're going to do your Dwayne's going to be like, I'm going to do my fucking job. Be like, I'm going to find out who this guy is. So they kind of took the photos. And from what I understand is that they kind of looked at where like there was I think there was like a telephone pole or a light pole that they were like, okay, we could probably find.
Well, they knew the neighborhood. They knew the neighborhood already because Ed had said it's one of my neighbors. That's the one tip that he gave them, was said like, hey, it's one of my neighbors, but they don't want to come forward. So like they knew the neighborhood. So they're like, it's actually kind of like, this is before Google Maps and shit. This is some fucking internet sleuthing before internet sleuthing.
So they go.
I told you this guy was Jay Jonah.
Yeah. I mean, you'd look him up in the phone. You could just look him up in the phone book, really, and just be like, yeah okay. But then
you're standing there, you're like looking with your Polaroid, one eye open, around, like lining it up.
And then they come to find that they come to like Ed's house. So like, hey, Ed, are you Mr. X? And
yeah, like the angle of these shots look like they're coming from your window.
They look like they're right here. There is no Mr. X.
I mean, I'm sure it has a lot to do with that, but I'm also sure that it has a little bit to do with the fact that they know Ed and think, yeah, Ed could be this guy.
He could be that dude.
He could be Mr. X.
Why? You know what? To be honest, the second he comes in with the friend of a friend, I would think you would, in the back of your head, you'd be like, is it you?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
But the photos went on to kind of do a little bit of a national circuit. So they brought in MUFON. They also got submitted to Bruce Maccabee, who we've taled about him before. Yeah. And Bruce Maccabee is a government research physicist who was kind of known as like who is known to kind of like analyze UFO photos. Like if you back then it was like if you had a photo, you sent it to Bruce Maccabee to kind of like get analyzed and whatever. So he actually concluded that looking at these photos that there was no evidence of a hoax. So that gave it lent his weight behind these photos being legitimate photos of a UFO.
And like he went more in depth on it. He was like, he had kind of figured out ways you might be able to do it, but deemed like the possibility that this guy would like utilize like numerous cameras, like on poles and taking shots together. He said like the odds were next to zero that he would have this like knowledge to do this after like consulting with experts on how they might do it. And even then the experts were like, I don't know if this would like actually work. It's just a theory. And like the theory was so complex that Maccabee's like, there's not a fucking chance this Ed guy is doing all this.
Yeah. And I mean, they almost like they challenged Walters, like after because Walters was still like over the next couple months, he was still submitting photos of UFOs, like of UFO activity and some of the ones that he had taken.
Yeah. He was seeing them all the time. There's like a flap going on down at the Gulf Breeze.
And he used different, a couple of times he used different cameras. He used one, a newer model of camera that actually ejected the film as soon as the shutter closed. So that would have made the double exposures like more difficult. He actually constructed, like, I guess he like put together some DIY like stereo camera device that had like 2 Polaroid cameras mounted on the ends of a board, so he could take like 2 slightly different angles of the same scene. So that was like, I wonder what that looked like.
So it's interesting though, like that's some ingenuity there. Like that's somebody that kind of knows his way around fucking equipment and cameras.
Yeah, but
this is just a 2x4 with 2 fucking Polaroids.
He came out that for him to have the wherewithal to know, like, hey, it's just going to look more legit if I get it from these 2 different fucking angles, as opposed to Joe Blow with a fucking Polaroid just snapping away.
I would agree with you, Andrew, on that point. However, when you like read the accounts and stuff, a lot of this ingenuity they had is from people being like, well, if you see it again, you should do this.
Well, that was because
everyone's going like
camera that they gave him, but not this.
Everyone's going like, yeah, maybe, but like it could be this, and you know what, you should use this. And he's like, okay, I will. I'll get this. If I see it again, I'm going to fucking use this. And then he does, right? And he gets it. And then people are like, get 2 angles at the same time of the same shot. That way. And he's like, fucking stand up there. His little 2x4. Like, so it wasn't like he was just like, I'm going to do this and waste my time.
I didn't hear that they told him to fucking use a 2x4 to use the 2 cameras. All I know is that the people from MUFON gave him a special camera that would be hard to fake double exposures with.
Yeah, I think that was the first one, but he built that one because he talks about that in his other story where he talks about he had this kind of like this contraption that he had made. He talks about in one of his encounters. I think it's actually the December 2nd one. So, on December 2nd of 1987, like Walters reported, he had another experience with the alien craft, but this one was a little bit different. This wasn't just photos. So he said he kind of woke up around 3 a.m. To the sound of like a male and a female voice talking to one another. No.
Florida.
So, I don't know. Well, if you heard it, you wouldn't be able to tell. Really, it'd be like just smacking sounds, like when snapping sounds. Like could be anybody.
You're like, is that a couple people running in flip flops? I don't know what's going on.
And so he could hear. He said he reported he could hear this conversation in his head, but he knew somehow that they couldn't hear him. So he's like overhearing this, whether it was a psychic conversation or something like that. So I guess, and like also he kind of sensed that there was like the craft was outside. So he said that he kind of like him and his wife also at the time, Francis.
At this point, his wife wasn't even convinced that he's seeing these things.
Right.
At this time. So he's like, he like wakes her up out of the dead night. He's like, wake up. I'm pretty sure it's outside. Come with me right now.
And so they army crawled out of bed all the way out to, Ed had to stop and get his handgun and then army crawl the rest of the way.
I read that he got a shotgun.
One of the things said handgun, but both are great.
Both funny.
I'm picturing shotgun in one hand, pistol in the other.
Yeah, you should get both.
And then he's got the Polaroid camera in his mouth.
Yeah.
His wife's like, "You want me to hold anything?" He's like, "No,
don't
one
put it
trip
out with your boots, Dad."
Wait, so he heard this conversation? Does he think right away it might be aliens, or he's just not sure?
He had a pretty good idea that like these were extraterrestrials or something.
He's seen them 65 times by now. Yeah. He's got a fucking stack of Polaroids.
He's like, they come every fucking night.
Yeah, I think
get my Polaroids.
At this point, he was reporting that he felt some kind of connection to this UFO. Like there was something that either was there specifically for him or it was kind of prompting him, because he does report like having this like. I was having like a general feeling of this UFO was like performing for him. Like it would show up and then it would want him to take photos of this UFO. So when they get to this point, like the army crawl outside, and it's like, he said this UFO was like hovering above their family pool out in the back. And so he snapped off a couple photos of this, of that craft. And then he kind of went back inside, but he's saying that something hit him before like he could get inside. And he was like, he's hit by this blue beam again.
That's the Walton.
Yeah, he says he couldn't move his arms. He tried to lift him to point the camera. He couldn't. And then all of a sudden he's like, they were blue. I was blue. Everything was blue.
That's the origin of the blue man.
I was in a blue light beam. The blue beam had hit me like compression. It was pressing me firmly just enough to stop me from moving. And this later inspired the following lyrics. This lives in a blue world all day, all night, and everything he sees is just blue, like him, inside and outside. Blue his house with a blue little window and a blue Corvette, and everything is blue for him and himself and everybody around, because he ain't got nobody to listen
to.
And then he also started juggling ping pong balls with his mouth.
Yeah, and so that's where that song came out. Those lyrics are directly written about this. I think.
Like anyone listening to this podcast,
100% sure
knows who Eiffel 55 is. They're all a bunch of kids. They got no clue.
Everyone knows fucking I'm blue.
I don't know. Not everybody our age.
I think that song's still on top 50 rotation.
Probably.
That song transcended music.
I doubt it. Honestly, I doubt it.
Yeah, I think everyone subconsciously just knows that song. It's like the 100
remix.
It's like the 100 Monkeys, right?
Hey,
like
the average age of our podcast is our age of our listeners. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
The 30 to 40
bastards.
range.
Yeah. So they know.
That's us, baby.
But I'm just saying, fits pretty good. I don't know if it's true or not.
So at this point, Walters has been like hit by this blue beam, and then he is like woken up unconscious at points. Like he's experienced, you know, he's just like hit by this blue beam, and the next thing he knows, he kind of wakes up on the ground, you know, with
shit
various
himself.
like various bruises and contusions and whatnot. But he still doesn't think anything kind of really happened besides he got hit by this weird blue beam, because he ends up doing like the speaking tour, right? He makes it to Oprah. Like he is so big that he makes it onto Oprah Winfrey show.
Yeah, but like Bill Burr said, this is when Oprah had like midgets that were having affairs, right? Like
this was
prime Oprah. What are you talking about?
This is when Oprah had the Ninja Turtles on.
Yeah, this is back. This is back when Oprah was.
Yeah,
going.
This is back when Oprah was dope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't trying to fucking buy Hawaii.
Yeah.
All right.
This was like the origins of Spring, like Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer.
TV was awesome.
Yeah. And Jerry Springer was just like, no, I'm going to stay in my lane and stay the exact same forever. And Oprah's like, I'm going to evolve with the time.
I'm going to take over the world.
Richest person in the world.
Yeah.
So he was actually on an episode of Oprah Winfrey Show, and they brought him on alongside to kind of like, and then somebody to like basically kind of go against him. They had Philip Glass on the show,
and they just fought huge fisticuffs in the middle of the stage.
Pretty much, yeah. Which wouldn't be much because like Philip Glass is like already like 70 years old or something.
Glass
like,
caught him in a bunch of lies though. Like it didn't look great for old Eddie boy.
Yeah, but it's like, but he definitely.
Like, did you read your own fucking book? Like,
he's like got a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
No, there was a great exchange in that interview. Actually, he says, "Haven't you read your book?" He says, "Can't you read my lips?" When he said, "Like I never said I was abducted by aliens.
Right.
Can't you read my lips?"
Definitely did in his book.
He claimed in the moment,
At the age of 41,
and he got a
abducted.
standing ovation for the quick little.
Yeah, audience was definitely on his side, or appeared to be, because they were all
Can't you read
clapping.
my lips?
Yeah, he nailed the George Bush quote, and it was just like, yeah, all right. Everybody loved it.
Yeah, that's great.
What's a George Bush quote? I don't get it.
The read my lips thing.
I don't know that. That's not.
He said that was also like Dana Carvey kind of used to do his George Bush impressions back. Read my lips. No new taxes, and then we're like, yeah, we got new taxes. But
oh, I see. And then he
it was something.
And then he lost the presidency.
So he lied too after he said it.
He had his fingers crossed behind his back. They all do.
Yeah, right. Yes. But yeah, so like, so when they had Philip Glass on there, and this is after, I guess this was after he had actually published a book already about this thing. Like he'd already been offered money to go ahead and publish like his first book, and that's the one that Bruce Maccabee helped him like co-write, and then that's where they post the analysis.
So Brucey boy here is the pictures are legit. Let's make a fucking book.
Yeah,
you want to get paid?
And what it seems like to me, like when you look at this, it seems like, you know, he very quickly got connected with some like who's who in this kind of circuit, and they're like, we gotta strike while the fucking iron's hot. Books, TV, movie, Oprah. We got to do it all. And like this guy's just a contract. Like, listen,
Sally, Jesse Raphael, fucking Ricky Lake, all of them.
Springer, Steve Wilkos. Larry King live. We got them all lined up. You're gonna guest host on SNL. But it's the thing is, if any one of us took that picture and stuff, and you get approached and people start throwing some some life-changing money and stuff, you're like, you're not just, that's a hard one to just be like, no. What do you want me to say?
It always paints the picture of fucking ulterior motives.
Yeah, and that's the shame.
Thing.
That's the shame. But money is it's a hard thing to turn down if you're just like, and that's why it's like I love the cases where they do, but I never blame the people when they're like, "What fuck? Would you turn down a $500,000 book deal?" Like, no, not me neither. Like, how do you say no to that kind of money realistically in 1987? I
mean, listen. I'm not saying no to it, but I'm asking questions about it.
And Bruce Maccabee's like, don't worry, I'll fucking write it.
Yeah. And he's also one of the credibility witnesses.
I'm instantly asking for double. Whatever they try and sell me on, I'm asking for double because I know I'm worth it.
Well, buddy, this guy's got. Think about the fucking Polaroid bill this guy's got.
No, that's what I would do.
More double Polaroid.
That's what I would do. If they say 500,000 for rights to the Polaroid and the book tour, everything, I go, all right.
Rights to the 2x4 that he mounted you on.
And then I say, what if I could tell you I got another Polaroid? $1 million. But you can't ask questions. We have to sign the deal first. That'd be my bargaining chip. And then I'd pull out the second, then better Polaroid I've been hanging on to this whole time.
What $1 million in 1986?
Fucking art of the deal.
You're
by
fucking
Ryan.
Richie Rich.
Oh yeah, dude.
You got your own McDonald's in your house.
Rich dad, poor dad.
All right,
I'm writing a new book. I'd forge your own Polaroid and back pocket one just in case.
So, after in his first book, I don't think he directly claims that he was abducted. He kind of claims that he was kind of hearing stuff, or he was somehow in communication with he had some sort of line of communication with
he was
UFO.
Abducted in his book.
Oh, he says he's in the first one.
Definitively.
Yeah.
Like the first one.
Yes.
What did you read the book?
He says at the age of 41 or whatever, I was abducted.
So he writes
hilarious.
2 books, right? The first book is the one that mostly deals with the photos, but then he writes a second book later. And this one actually, because the first book I don't think had descriptions of his abductions, because at this point he was just
sexy.
At this point, it was just stuff that he was like, I might have been abducted. I think I have these things of missing time, these gaps in my memory, which people associate with missing time and alien abductions.
Didn't he at one point didn't at one point, I remember reading something where he was like, I used to think it was from hitting my head as a child, but now I'm not so sure. And I was like, whoa, you had a car accident, hit your head? No, it's probably that too. That is, I've had concussions, and that is 100% what happens. You miss time. You travel through time without knowledge. It's the weirdest fucking thing. You're here, and then all of a sudden you're
significant head injury.
Yeah, you're somewhere else, and you're like, this is strange. How did I get here? No one's looking at me as if I'm concerned.
Braden, you just had a seizure.
Yeah. I'm covered in vomit. I'm like, why is everyone so calm? Where
I peed myself.
No, but it is a weird thing. So when he wrote that, he's like, I used to think it was from a head injury, and I was like, brother, if you hit your head that hard, that'll happen. I've had it happen. So it's unless I was abducted after I got hit from behind in lacrosse.
Yeah, that can happen.
Let's get the book deal.
You don't remember that whole second period, so you could have been anywhere.
I don't remember the rest of the game. I don't even remember going home. Right?
Definitely.
Zell, how much do you remember after the Boston Pizza Sucky?
That's a good question.
Do you remember saying you're going to go home and get your gun and shoot him? Because I do.
No comment.
That was right before he got abducted.
Yeah.
That wasn't me. It was overtaken.
Yeah, you were looking through fucking pinholes, dude. There was 100% not you.
Good thing his house wasn't any closer.
With the aid of the cutting edge science of hypnotherapy, Ed Walters went back to recover those memories, and we'll talk about those after the beer break.
Let's gotta get our guns first. 1 second.
We're back. What was that? I got a itch, and I had to do the Yogi Bear on the chair.
Just get your back.
Yeah, fucking.
Except for it was your ass, wasn't it?
No, no. That's what fingers are for, buddy.
You can't see his bottom half. You don't know what he's up to.
Yeah, my fingers can reach.
You guys, everybody just thinks we're wearing pants. And they're just
Thinking wrong. Thinking wrong.
Straight Winnie the Pooh in it.
Oh yeah.
it's hot. You know? This is, so Ed goes out after like his publishing his first book and stuff like this, and now he's starting to have suspicions that he's
sun's out, snouts out.
He starts having his own suspicions that he has actually been abducted in different like during different times in his life, as he kind of mentions in his first book, and then he's like, you know, before that he was kind of on the thing. He's like, I've never been abducted, and now he's switching over to be like, no, I just didn't remember that I had been abducted, and so I need to, of course, get the hypnotic regression. And so Dr. Sprinkles wasn't available at the time, I guess, so they had to pull in Dr. Dan Overlaid, who helped him write his second book.
Like, I mean, some personal bias there. The doctor that's helping you write the book does your hypnotic regression. Like,
same guy that validated your photos.
So one of the experiences that he helps him to hypnotically regress to is an encounter that he had on May 1st of 1988. This is when Ed and his wife had been trying to photograph the UFO, and they were using that stereo camera rig that he had made. And so around 1 a.m., Ed had said like his wife had gone inside. They'd been out there kind of trying to get out, get like, this.
I'm not fucking sitting out here anymore.
And then, you know, as she goes in a short while after, about like 10 minutes later, 2 UFOs appear. 2, not 1, 2. And Ed says that he observed these UFOs while adjusting these cameras. And then after he gets like the photos, like, and he's like adjusting cameras to take like another set, he said that he just kind of whites out, just kind of blanked out. Oop. And then he woke up with these bruises on his face and his upper body, and then checked the time, and he's like,
"It's been hit him with that blue light and just fucking start just working him over, fucking taking our
these
photo.
Little alien gray forearms."
Yeah. Well, hey, the one thing that we forgot to mention though is like he talks shit to them. Like, remember the first time? You can't come around here doing this to people.
It's like, oh yeah, we can't blue light. Fucking
just muffins. Little gray muffs.
They're fucking hitting them with sticks.
So he checked the time. He said an hour and 15 later is when he had like woken up. And so when he went back into the hypnotic regression state, he kind of went into that time and then started dredging up these like more memories of what happened. So he was saying that at the time, like right before, like after that time that he blanks out in the hypnotic memory, recovery, he says that he actually realized that these extraterrestrials were in the bushes. He says that, he's saying the aliens are in the bushes. Like that's where they are.
Yeah. He turns and they're just fucking standing there like in his, the side of your yard, just coming out of the bushes, just sitting there.
His head poking up.
Is this where he sees all the naked ladies?
I think that was previously where you saw all the naked ladies.
How do we pass on that?
I think I must have glossed over the naked ladies picture.
But he sees fucking skinny ones, fat ones, black ones, white ones, pregnant ones. Like basically everybody's fucking Pornhub searches.
And
all shapes and sizes.
Isn't some of the theories like the aliens put that into his mind and they weren't quite sure what he'd like, so they gave him a little bit of everything.
Just throw everything at him. Just flipping through like a page book of like,
we're not sure. Does he like pregnant lady? I don't know. Throw one in there. Maybe. See if he likes it.
Yeah.
Show pictures of feet.
Now try stepsister.
Bring out the dryer.
She's stuck in the dryer.
She's stuck.
She's stuck under the coffee table.
So are you a foot guy? Like, we got some feet. You got some feet pics.
Just like a foot lady comes out. She's a giant fucking foot.
Giant Peggy Hill feet.
All right, let's get a fat one to sit on him now.
So in the memory he has like these aliens like they like leap out of the bushes, and then they all like kind of pile on him, and they're trying to restrain him at the time. And he's struggling with them. He's describing all of this in his hypnotic, and during this session with Dr. Overlaid, he's talking about like, yeah, they're trying to restrain me, they're trying to hold me down, and then I managed to escape and roll out.
They like trip him, and he bails into the sand. I guess he's got some sand.
Does he describe these aliens?
Yes.
Like, are they little grays or are they? What's the deal?
No, they were wearing.
They're
wearing like suits. I think you're saying is like they're wearing like these box like garments with like helmets. Like there's some kind of like they weren't. It wasn't necessarily the grays. It was just like he described them as wearing these kind of like outfits or
were
kind
they
of
big
suit.
or small though?
I think they were a bit smaller. Like I think they were
like
like 4 feet tall. Yeah.
So gray with a costume, gray with a fucking
armor,
Daft Punk helmet.
Yeah.
On.
Yeah.
They trip him up. He bails into the sand, and then he fucking. I can only assume this is where Dale Gribble picked it up from. He comes up, just pocket sands them, sand in the eye, 2 fistfuls of sand.
Great move.
Just fucking move. Sand all around, sand in the face,
dust,
and then he just starts throwing on him like just sand in the eyes, and he just. Spinning.
He says he describes having like a feeling, like a sense like that one of them's behind him, and then he like he just says he did some kind of like spin move, which I mean some like whirlwind kick. I don't know. He tries to like fucking capoeira the shit out of this guy.
You're talking about some Jim Cotta.
Yeah,
that's fucking Jim Cotta.
Yeah, he jumped on top of a pommel horse and then he started spinning around. Yeah, that's
Jim Cotta for sure.
Or he's doing the Lisa Simpson where he's just spinning in a circle. Like if you get in the way, it's your own fault.
And like while they're doing this, he also remembers like they're speaking to him, right? Or he can hear them speaking to him and something like there's they're calling out to him and they're saying like, wait 12, Zhas, wait 12, you're not that strong. And they keep repeating like these
calm
phrases.
Calm down, Zhas.
You want to fucking bet?
Why did they give him the name Zhas?
So I got a theory on this. I got a theory because Zhas, Dan put it in the chat that Zhas means prominent eyebrows. They think that's what it means. So they were basically like, hey, calm down, eyebrows. Hey, chill out. Hey, listen, eyebrows. You're not that strong. You're not that strong, eyebrows. Right? Like they were fucking chirping him as a full-on sand fight.
This guy got some like Eugene Levy's on him?
Oh, yeah. He's got some caterpillars.
He's got some
That's why I'm calling you the Zhas from now on.
But they're telling him to calm down. Like, Zhas, wait, 12. Zhas, wait. And then, he throws the spin move on him and they all kind of like pile. I guess he does the spin move and he manages to get one. He said like he realizes after he kind of tangles up with the one that's behind him that he's got his arm like around its neck, and so it ends up struggling with him, but it somehow gets like an arm free and then it draws out some kind of like metal pipe, like it has some kind of like pipe object.
Let go of the ghillie, buddy. You had it.
And then that thing just starts wailing on him, I guess. He said he's like, he gets incapacitated by, he feels like a sensation. It's like a taser or something. Like his muscles stiffen up.
Get knocked unconscious by a pipe.
And then
the only weird thing is
beat to death.
Is like, this is
all
like
the other ones jump in too. He says, like, just start wailing on him with pipes. And I was just like, holy shit.
This kind of does remember, like, didn't they have that magic stick that froze people in, with that Russian one?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I remember.
And they kind of looked like robots
that one got
too.
Didn't that like disintegrate that kid though? Like fucking zap some kid or whatever.
Right. But then
they're just straight up beating him. They're
just like, forget it. They're like, we're using it for its second purpose. Fucking
we're putting this thing on manual.
Beat down.
But I just imagine these 4 foot tall like helmeted beings just wailing on poor Ed Walters as he's on the ground. And that's where he figures that he got a lot of these injuries from.
Did he snap some Polaroids of his injuries?
No, I don't think he did. I think
because you got to remember, he just wakes. So obviously they get the best of him. They freeze him or whatever.
Yeah, beat the fuck out of him.
And then an hour. Like for an hour, 15 minutes.
They fucking just wail on him. Then they weekend it Bernie's him up, stand him back up, jump into the ship and unfreeze him, and he just goes, what happened? Where am I? All beat up.
Yeah, he remembers being on the ship like at some point, and then just kind of being crawling around. And he said that the images of like his daughter and his wife start kind of coming to his head, and he has this like, he starts experiencing like just real fear about them being alone and like worrying about them, and then it just kind of like the memory kind of
he's worried they're gonna get piped too.
Well, he says, what does he said at one point? When they're beating him up, he said, he goes, the battle was very physical and I was losing, but my spirit could not tolerate this violation. Right. I forced my body to react. My tongue was bleeding from where I had first bitten it, and again locked my teeth down on the edge of my tongue. I choked on my own blood and winced, my eyes watering in pain. A strange static shock vibrated down my legs, and I was free again.
This dude's about to go fucking Super Saiyan. Like, this is a fucking anime protagonist, like spitting blood out, like, it's just like
my spirit will not take this violation.
I think he was also yelling at them. This reads like ChatGPT wrote
it. Like no one fucking says that. My spirit would not tolerate this violation. Those are not human words.
Freeze up! Pay for that!
Imagine that Frieza and all the fucking just punk with steel pipes after.
Yeah, the Ginyu Force, little pipes.
So after a while, like after Ed's like original publishing of the book and the Gulf Breeze, the photos like come to light. He got quite a bit of money from publishing the book and a couple other things. And so in December of 1988, Ed Walters and his family moved out of their house in Gulf Breeze and like moved up. And then 10 months later, the house was purchased by Bob and Sarah Lee Menzer. So in 1990, Bob reported that he went into the attic of the house to look for a shutoff valve for the water pipes.
When is that ever going to be in the fucking attic? First off.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Your water shut off in the fucking attic?
Is that a thing?
No. So it was in the wall, and then something brought him up to the attic. Like something was like shut off, and then he had to go to the attic to go to. I forget exactly the description. But
so he was going upstairs, but it wasn't the shut off. He wasn't looking for the shut off valve in the attic. He was going up to the attic, just following a pipe or something or whatever. So he gets up there, and he said that while searching through the insulation, he found what seemed to be a model of a UFO. Or at least this object that he found seemed to closely resemble the UFO that Walter's photos had been, the subject of.
Dude, and this thing, this thing is like, it's like fucking.
That's how they mark their abductees.
It's not even a foot, and it's made of styrofoam and paper plates.
And it looks exactly like the one in the fucking pictures.
And so this model that they have, like it's 9 inches across, 6 inches high. It's got these black portholes that you see in the photo, and like it's like the white one, and you can like see the portholes are drawn on, and they're actually drawn on a strip of drafting paper that he said seemed to be cut from one of Ed's discarded house designs, because it had his handwritten dimensions for a house that was built, I guess, on Jamestown Drive, was like a nearby street. It was written by, it had or appeared to have Ed's handwriting on it.
To be honest, for me, this is the most unbelievable part of the story for me. And the reason I say that is because right now, think about this for a second. You go into the attic and you find this little fucking craft that someone's made out of paper plates and styrofoam. You're like, I better call somebody. I'd be like,
somebody came to him asking about it. Actually,
yeah. How did they fucking know about it? This is the whole thing. I think this is just, to me, a ploy for someone to try to fucking squeeze some more fucking money out of this story.
Do you know that Ed, when his kids used to have sleepovers, he used to trick all the kids with a party trick, because he'd take double exposure photos with a ghost in the background of one of his kids and scare the shit out of all of them.
As you do.
Yeah. But that's that
with the Polaroid.
You guys are fucking with a Polaroid.
So
with a fucking Polaroid camera, which they did replicate. I watched a documentary. They were able to replicate the fucking photos.
So there was a report. There was a reporter, Craig Myers, who was like following the story, and he published like a number of articles about it. And he said that he was a reporter for the Pensacola News Journal, and he was able to replicate those Polaroid photos with that model because he actually, he obtained the model from the Menzers and then
borrowed it from the fucking putt-putt course where it's sitting at right now.
And so
I'm just saying, Zell, you go in an attic right now of your house, right? And you find like a paper mache model. What are you doing with this paper mache model?
I'm going to contact Castnet News. First and foremost, I'm going to contact Nick Johansson of Castnet News. I'm going to get on the front page. I'm going to say this is an alien relic that was somehow placed in my attic. That's the first thing I'm going to do.
But the thing is, you can't tell me that the Menzers didn't know who fucking Ed Walters was, because Ed Walters, like Gulf Breeze, they bought the house from him, and they're also like, if they're moving to Gulf Breeze, like you've seen this shit on national news.
Yeah,
like you've seen this.
Well,
on the
and
local,
that's why I think
like,
this is just a ploy to wring some extra money. Like this whole thing reeks of setup to me.
Get more money? What are you talking about?
Well, because then they're now doing the tour of being like, look at this, we found this. The model. Yeah.
I mean, they must have made it big selling it to a fucking putt-putt course.
Hey,
what do you? These people are
listen. The Iceman. We saw the Iceman in the Minnesota Iceman in Texas.
Have the Menzers made a dime from having this fucking model that they gave away? No. There's only one person that's profited from this, like handsomely.
When confronted with the this event that they had found this model, Walters like vehemently denied that this UFO had been, is that he had created it. He said that it was planted in the attic by someone else. That, that's what he was saying. And he kind of stuck to that story. 1 week after the model was discovered, a 20-year-old Gulf Breeze resident named Tommy Smith came forward. And then he claimed that Ed had actually asked him to assist him in creating these photos. So, I mean,
flipping the trampoline upside down to make the crop circle and shit like that.
I was just like, I'm not really sure if it's like they how they took the photos, where it's like, they hung the, you could put the model in the background, like behind a window, and then like take the photo. I'm not 100% sure like how they did, but they seem to replicate these photos. And so a lot of people were like, okay, Ed is like pulling everybody's leg. Like he got probably one of the reasons he moved is because I was made aware that they they like doxed him hard. Like Ed Walters, like they put out like entire fucking campaigns of like posters of saying, like, calling Ed like a liar, and they're like, if you know this guy, call his phone number. They like put his phone number, his personal phone number, on these flyers like around the neighborhood, and they said this guy's a fucking liar.
Discrediting the fucking movement, man. The people who are actually having fucking experiences and encounters and shit like that.
I'm not convinced.
They were mad. They were just like, the neighborhood like didn't want him like around. They were like, this guy's crazy. He's a nut. Like he doesn't represent us, the Gulf Breeze community. So
this is why he wanted to be Mr. X, and he was dragged into the limelight.
It didn't last very long,
right? The thing with the photos,
beat it.
Everything I've read is like, yes, you can replicate some of these with double exposures, but the ones they don't know how he would have done is where it's partly obscured by trees.
Yeah, and then I watched the guy do it on the documentary. You can watch the documentary on YouTube.
I've never seen the one duplicated of it halfway behind the tree.
They did it on
that was Andrew. No, that was all a smear campaign against this guy. That's all bullshit. That documentary was a farce.
I think our boy Ed, he had some real pictures, and then what happened is the money started coming in, and he's like, "What do you want me to do? How much am I going to get? 200,000? Yes, I was abducted at 41. What else you want me to say?" And I think this is where it got away. And then the second, because like he took two lie detector tests.
He did. He took a lie detector.
You of all people, you want to bring up a fucking lie detector? Hey, those aren't fucking credible whatsoever.
Yeah, but they didn't know. They didn't know at this time. They didn't know in 88, 89 that these things were, pseudoscience. So he's like, he's probably sweating bullets, right?
And for you to use that lie detector argument fucking kills me.
No, I'm just saying is he passes too on the basis of the first.
He passes with basically saying that he believes the photos are real.
Yes.
Like that is what he believes that these photos that were taken were real.
Yes, these are real Polaroids.
Yeah. So
of a fucking shitty model I made in my house.
These photos real? And it's like
styrofoam fucking plates.
Like they are
I don't think so.
photos.
And then the other thing is, like he says he's like the plans that is made of are plans that were drawn after the fucking photos. Like the photos that he took and the drawing of those plans weren't drawn till after the photos were taken. Right. And it's like
of the fucking random papier-mâché sculpture that was hidden in his house by someone he doesn't know. They stole my drafting paper and made it.
It does seem really weird that you would just leave your fucking best piece of evidence at home. Like you would forget to take it with you.
I thought about that, but you look at the pictures and you can see that each one of these fucking pictures that he has, they all look a little bit different. And they all have different fucking, like the lighting and stuff like that. I think he had multiple of these.
And he just saucered them into the attic, into the insulation.
No, and I think he forgot one at the house. I think there's a bunch of them.
I think that's ludicrous. I think that whole story of like it seems like such a fucking plant to me, because I'm like, you have new people buy the house, all of a sudden they're like, oh, look at this, we found the fucking UFO.
What do these people gain from that?
Maybe someone paid them.
Those people are disinformation.
Who's paying them?
Disinformation agents.
Is the government making fucking fake little things?
Yeah,
maybe a fucking newspaper.
The government wanted those people to buy the house.
Why did the government give a fuck about Ed Waters?
So they could discredit Ed Waters. Discredit Ed Waters. The holder of the greatest piece of UFO information, UFO evidence ever unearthed on this planet, and they tried to smear him. They tried to end him however they could.
We cannot listen, guys. Everybody, gather around. We cannot let this Ed Walters guy make $200,000 from a shitty book.
Yeah, we shouldn't.
We can't have anything to do with that.
We can't let him.
He's getting a TV deal.
Books. Yeah,
there's no fucking way.
Like the other thing is,
over my dead body.
You know,
I'm putting our best men on this. I want our best fucking paper mache fucking sculptor. I want all the fucking paper plates you can find.
And I want he's like, they're all at desk. They're all at desk, like showing them, and he's like, garbage. He's like, it looks nothing like it.
Just takes it, just trashes it
again.
Yeah,
they're in their CIA
$500,000 of black budget paper mache glue.
They've got old plans from like his like thing, and they're like replicating his handwriting like perfectly. They're just like, yeah, we got this. Like, no problem.
Okay. Who made that one? Your 6-year-old daughter? That's it! God damn it, she's a genius. God damn it, Jim.
Yeah.
Goddamn beautiful.
So it was reported that Walters did make a bit of money, like we said. Like he apparently, of what we know, Walters received $200,000 for the book advance for that first book. And then he was actually offered $450,000 by ABC for the rights to a miniseries, which never happened. They never made it. But he still got the money. I mean, it was still reported.
Only he would have pitched the same scenario, but with a bunch of cowboys.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why he's going to be the head of UFO contractors.
That's why he's getting his second shot.
Yeah.
Let's reach out to him.
Apparently his wife wasn't interested in the rocket ride of him, because him and her like separated like shortly, like with it after kind of like some of this stuff happened. Like it's all like within. I forgot what year,
and the other thing too is
got divorced
that we kind of gloss over is that like you got to remember that like other people have seen lights and seen weird things in this area like quite regularly during this time as well.
Yeah, after Ed Walters and the Gulf Breeze, like his photos like started coming like UFO sightings surged in the area because people obviously were going out, and we at least established one kind of UFO club, and it was like the Gulf Breeze Sky Watchers.
Yeah,
was the club.
Isn't that the name of the UFO?
Just like the UFO Sky Watchers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cowboys.
I wonder if he's there. Like if you look at those old, he's got.
Oh my God! Are we sure that Ed Walters isn't the old man? Are we positive about this?
It's just a name change. Yeah, in the background of that fucking video of the Skywatchers seeing the lights where everyone's having orgasms and screaming, you just hear like, "Oh my God, we just stepped through the gates of hell."
Like they have the Skywatchers, and there's a great clip of them like watching UFOs, and they're
you've
really
never seen
excited.
you've never seen any group of people more excited for anything.
Yeah, you can find a YouTube clip of like it was true or not. Like I can't put the fucking thing down.
True.
It was like
strange
but true. It's strange but true. And then
Gulf
season
Breeze
3, episode
UFO.
4.
About 11:30 in, you just hear people like, "Oh, it's coming! It's coming!" Like, where my dogs at? Where my dogs at?
And it is a lot of people very excited about UFOs, and it's like, I mean, they don't really show everything. I mean, it's just camera stuff. So it's like, I don't know if they're actually recording what they're seeing or they're just having people like just do reactions to whatever. But it's just like, they are all out there. And
That's even better. They're like, let's film ourselves reacting when we saw that thing the other week.
Yeah. I mean, Pensacola is also like, they got like a big like military base over there. And they're saying, oh, this thing like fell off or whatever. I was like, that could have been a flare. Like, planes drop flares. Like it's, they showed some pictures, which I'm like, that might be actually just like a decoy balloon, like a training balloon that like pilots use. Like I was like, okay. But those people are out there, and, the Gulf Breeze incident kind of, spawned that, and then other offshoots and stuff. But people are out there looking for UFOs, and, and just having, like, looks like they're having a pretty good time. I don't know. I'd go. Like, why not? pull a cooler out onto the beach and fucking just.
I didn't realize this. That I didn't know this. Ed also, there was some monetary perks for him, but one of the biggest perks that he got was that he actually received a pardon from the governor for 1967 charges of forgery and auto theft. That he was pardoned.
That's right, because Class brings that up on the Oprah show, and he says like, "Oh, you were convicted. You're a convicted felon," and he's like, "Well, I did some stupid stuff." He rejoins with,
"It's been expunged."
Oh yeah, he's like, yeah, I've just been, I did some stupid stuff when I was younger, but I saw these UFOs, and so okay, it's like character attack, but yeah.
In all, they said he acquired more than $2.5 million in assets that were directly related from this event.
Yeah, so
for him,
he went on the tracking circles, and I think he shows up every now and then on UFO documentaries. Like, he's still around, I think. But yeah,
I thought he changed his name and disappeared. Honestly, because they try to track him down in that documentary, and
he's gone.
Well, that's because he's in the Midwest.
Yeah. Now he's Ed Waters.
No. Now he's Jeff Sailors.
Yeah, now he's Jeff Sailors. UFO cowboy. ET expert. The Gulf Breeze is an interesting case. There's still people who are there's still people for who the jury is out. Like Brayden said, there are some of the photos that they claim like cannot be replicated easily.
I believe the original photos that were brought. When you look at it's just a guy who sees something, takes photos, and he wants to see if there's anyone else saw something. And that aspect of it right there, I believe, true and genuine. Then what I think it went wild, and money got involved, and he went wild, and he just like
he starts making up stories of he's getting sexual dreams embedded into his mind of all types.
Pipe beat downs,
and he was helped with people in the UFO community at the time who were like knew how to monetize these things. Bruce Maccabee and others who were, I'm sure they made a pretty penny off this event too, and so. I think it went from humble beginnings to then like, what we've seen in a lot of other cases where it's just like whatever we can do for money.
Yeah, like, there were some things where it was like a bunch of the civilian UFO organizations got involved, not just MUFON, but it was like QFOS and like a couple other ones that aren't around anymore. But like they all got involved, and some of them were denouncing them right off the bat, but then there was some things where like some of the guys like changed their tune. They're like, well, maybe, like it's kind of
once a scammer, always a scammer. A shit leopard can't change its shit spots.
Yeah, that's the point.
All right.
Yeah. And there's one thing to say. It's like, listen, we all do dumb things when we're young, but we, most smart people never get caught, right? You know what I mean?
Scammer.
Most people don't make paper maches.
Yeah. What kind of fucking psycho
make paper
is making paper? I don't even remember how to make paper mache.
I don't think I ever made paper mache ever.
Just glue and paper? Is that all it is? You just rub it on there?
Just like
All right,
mashing all
ask
together.
Ed fucking Walters.
Call him up.
We're the UFO contracts. This is Ed Walters. He's our resident ET expert / papier-mâché expert.
Could be handy for our house remodels, feature
Yeah.
walls, feature ceilings,
Yeah,
paper maches.
he patches all the fucking punch holes in the drywall
Yeah.
from the ghosts.
There's plenty of stuff out there about the Gulf Breeze. So if people are interested, you can always just look it up. There's lots of stuff
check
out
it
there, interesting things to kind of read about it and, come to your own conclusion.
Yeah, let us know what you think. Go look at the photos and let us know your thoughts. We got new Patreon supporters.
We got a couple supporters.
Let's go.
VIPs. Welcome to the club.
These people went to alientheorist.com. They hit the support tab. They signed up for $3 or more per
love 'em.
month.
Legends.
Love 'em.
Fucking beauties.
The best.
This week we got Dan Man. Dan just signing up for our own show, unfortunately.
Just keep putting different, just Dan, man.
I'm going to butcher this, but I don't give a shit. Dmitry Knajskavitsky.
Nice.
Pretty good. And
That's
I think
pretty
Chris McCormick.
Oh yeah, Chris, welcome back.
Welcome back, Chris McCormick.
go.
Heir
to
to
the
the Candy
McCormick Banana family.
Yeah.
Fortune.
Hopefully he pledged a high amount because those bananas have been selling nonstop.
He actually just pledged bags of candy.
No, nice.
Zell's like, yeah, that can we can take that.
Yeah.
I gifted him a lifetime subscription.
We trade lifetime supplies back and forth. So, and that's it for this week. Thank you guys for sticking with us. It's busy, little.
Don't forget to tune in next week for UFO contractors.
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
The call forward. But thanks for sticking with us. It's a little bit busy time, and we're committed to keep content coming out. The waters will settle here in a little bit, and we'll be back at it a little.
The Polaroid will
better.
dry.
Yeah. And as we always say at the end of these things, keep those eyes in the skies.
See you next.
Peace.